Hello, my name is Richard Albert. I am the William Stamps Farish Professor in Law and Professor of Government here at the University of Texas at Austin. I want to say thank you to the Board of Editors at the Rivista di Diritto Comparati for inviting me to share a few words about my new book. My new book entitled Constitutional Amendments, Making, Breaking, and Changing Constitutions, published just earlier this year, in August 2019, by Oxford University Press. I want to say thank you in particular to my friend Giuseppe Martinico for asking me to record this very, very short video about the book. Every country has its own constitution, and each constitution has rules for making changes to it. In this book, I ask how constitutions around the world change. I ask why sometimes they don't change, even when they are supposed to. And I ask why reformers often break the rules the Constitution establishes for its own amendment. And I show that the rules of amendment are important because they help keep the Constitution current and reflective of present preferences and needs. I was prompted to write the book because today very little is known about constitutional amendment rules. And so this book is the very first comprehensive examination of the rules of change. I seek to explain why amendment rules are fundamental for constitutions and also for the project of democratic constitutionalism. And so I've designed the book to be both a roadmap for navigating the intellectual universe of constitutional amendment and also a blueprint for building and improving the rules of constitutional change. I draw from dozens of constitutions in every region of the world, blending theory with practice to answer two all-important questions. 1. What counts as an amendment? And 2. How should constitutional designers structure the rules of change? No part of a constitution is more important than the procedures we use to change it. And so I seek to show in the book how amendment rules open a window into the very soul of a constitution, exposing its deepest vulnerabilities and revealing its greatest strengths. My takeaway, I hope, is that the codification of amendment rules, often at the end of the text, proves that last is not always least. In the book, I touch on several hot-button subjects, and I seek to answer several important questions, including what are the purposes of constitutional amendment rules? I answer this question in a comprehensive way. I ask, why do constitutional designers make certain rules unamendable? I explain the several reasons why with reference to real-life examples. Can political actors replace the Constitution by amending it? In the book, I show how it's possible to do that, why it is ordinarily improper to do that, and how political actors can in fact do it, but do it legitimately. Another question I ask is, which constitution is the world's most difficult to amend? In the book, I show that the answer to that question is virtually impossible to arrive at. And one final example of a question that I address in the book is, can a constitutional amendment be unconstitutional? Present scholarship seems to celebrate this possibility, the possibility that an amendment can be unconstitutional. I show in this book, however, that there is no global norm, at least not yet, of accepting the possibility of an unconstitutional constitutional amendment. The big takeaway from the book is that there are presently too few resources to guide constitutional designers in building the rules of constitutional amendment. And so the book is a roadmap for designing amendment rules. And just as we would do when building an edifice, constructing the rules of change requires careful thought about design, about operation. And so the book explains in a very careful, systematic way that amendment rules are organized around 4 sets of fundamental choices that require designers, first, to set the foundations of the polity, 2, to choose among pathways to initiate, propose, and ratify an amendment, 3, to choose specifications that will put the foundations and pathways into operation, and finally, 4, to choose how and where amendments will be recorded in the text. There is a normative dimension to the book. I show that formal amendment, practice, reflects the democratic values of the rule of law, including predictability, transparency, and publicity. I acknowledge, of course, that there are advantages to informal amendment and to informal methods of change, even those that violate the codified rules of change. But I conclude ultimately that there are even greater democracy-enhancing virtues that are possible only with formal amendment. I want to thank once again the editors of the Rivista di Diritto Comparati, along with my friend Giuseppe Martinico, for inviting me to share with you just a few short words about my new book entitled Constitutional Amendments, Making, Breaking, and Changing Constitutions, published in August 2019 by Oxford University Press. Thank you so very, very much.